Under the right conditions, your brain will physically erase a traumatic reality and replace it with a vivid, seamless hallucination. We assume our senses deliver a direct feed of the world. In reality, we are experiencing a biological reconstruction that can be switched off by a single strobe. Your brain is a prediction machine trapped in a dark vat, relying on electrical spikes to build a simulated model of the environment. It constantly forecasts expectations, updating the simulation only when faced with contradictory physical evidence to align with reality. But if the system responsible for detecting that contradiction fails, the brain is left with a simulation that no longer has to answer to the truth. This creates a terrifying neurological blind spot. A person can be fully paralyzed, yet believe with absolute certainty that they are moving. When the brain's internal narrative becomes isolated from physical feedback, the mind remains trapped in a fabricated reality, unaware that the body it inhabits has been destroyed. In clinical settings, neurologists document this phenomenon in a specific group of patients, individuals who have suffered a massive right hemisphere stroke. Take the case of Mrs. Dodd. Her stroke left the entire left side of her body permanently paralyzed, confined to a wheelchair. Yet she greets her doctors with total confidence. She claims she is perfectly healthy, showing no awareness of the limb that now sits motionless at her side. When asked to touch the doctor's nose with her left hand, her arm remains limp. But Mrs. Dodd doesn't see a failure. She looks the doctor in the eye and insists she is touching his nose. If the doctor asks her to clap, she raises her healthy right hand and waves it in the empty air. To her, the sound and the sensation of the clap are real. This is anosognosia, a state where damage to the brain's hardware makes it physically impossible for the mind to perceive its own illness. This behavior is unique to the right side of the brain. When a stroke hits the left hemisphere, patients often become hyper-aware, obsessing over their loss of function. The right hemisphere serves as the brain's anomaly detector. It is the system tasked with comparing our internal expectations against the cold facts of reality. Look at this MRI. The dark void in the right hemisphere represents the depth of that anomaly-detecting tissue. Mrs. Dodd's reality-updating software has lost its physical server. When she tries to move her arm, the motor cortex sends the command. But because the arm is paralyzed, zero sensory data returns. In a healthy brain, that lack of feedback triggers an alarm. But since Mrs. Dodd's anomaly detector is gone, the brain simply defaults to its original plan. It assumes the movement happened because it was ordered. The result is a mechanistic horror. The brain bypasses the broken body and generates a hallucination of success, resolving the contradiction by ignoring the evidence. For the patient, there is no lie. The subjective experience is seamless, and the internal simulation is indistinguishable from the truth. They exist in a state of extreme cognitive dissonance, frozen in physical space, while their mind lives in a world where they are still whole. Anosognosia reveals that our grip on reality is maintained by a physical toggle switch. When it breaks, the brain can erase even the most obvious, traumatic truths. If the human brain can hide full-body paralysis from itself, we have to ask what else it might be patching over. What smaller, everyday traumas is your mind currently editing out of your reality? Consider the world you are seeing right now. If your brain can hide your paralysis from you, what is it hiding from you right now?